Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Tuesday night. Feels like it's been forever since we got to cover a Tuesday night series, but we finally have landed on one. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the Challenger Racing League Season 1, Race 1, the inaugural race in Season 4, this brand new series. But if you've been fans of Freaky Fast for a long period of time, some of these names might be very familiar for yourself. But here this evening, I know for myself of the booth, Sam Dyer, as well as joining with me, is going to be seeing Trevor Earhart. We're going to be kind of getting familiar with these drivers, a little bit new for us, maybe not new for the channel, but we're excited to give you all the coverage again here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Trevor, it's good to have you back in the booth. It feels like it's been way too long, but man, it is. I'm glad to be finally working with you on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been up in the booth with you and Robert, Sam, and excited to be back here on Tuesday nights, and excited to see what these guys in the Challenger Racing League can bring us here with the start of their season here at Richmond.
And a little bit of complications with the servers. They had to move to a different one and quickly try to get on track. They just finished up qualifying. They're hitting the grid. It's about to be time for us to get started here tonight as drivers are gridding up on the front stretch. We'll quickly do a rundown of the drivers on where they will be running here this evening. Your first pole sitter, top of the board, it's the 29, going to be of Christian Stratter in the 29 machine. Take the pole position. Roland Collette in the 10 will come away in second in qualifying. Matt Hayden going to be in third for the 5 machine. Hunter Carlson in the 32 will be fourth. Fifth position, we found the 18 of Peyton Long. John excuse me, I'm gonna get some of these names tricked up. But Valesa gonna be in that 6th position. Gonna be Andrew Little in 7th. Rusty Modesty gonna be starting up in 8th for the 6 car. Also gonna be seeing James in the 38 starting 9th. 10th is gonna be Gregory Fournier, gonna be in the 40. Guys, sorry about these names, we're butchering them now. We hope to have them correct in the next few weeks. 11th is Steve Potter. Brandon Bouchamp gonna be in the 15 machine in 12th. Jamie Nolan gonna be in 13th. Justin Malarkey 14th. In 15th place gonna be seeing Michael Martio gonna be in the 75. 15 drivers taking the green, but this evening 200 laps gonna be the ultimate distance here this evening. We do have a stage at the end of lap 75. These drivers have 1 fast repair, 3 extra sets of tires in pit road, but the fun factor that they're gonna be dealing with, Trevor, 40% fuel load. Fuel could be an issue here tonight.
Yeah, 40% fuel load, and not only that, but a really hot racetrack here tonight here today at Richmond. 130-degree track temp, Sam. And I think we all know from our experience in the next gen car, they do not like hot racetracks. So this is going to be these drivers are going to have their handfuls not only with the fuel mileage race, but dealing with the racetrack as well.
Yeah, I mean, having their hands full, already heard from some of the drivers, they were struggling just to do a full fuel load with the handling of this vehicle and track. Richmond already is a tough track, even without the temperatures being so high. Certainly going to be a factor that we'll keep our eye on here this evening. But start of a new season, certainly for some, with a new league, the first race, so much prestige is lifted here as drivers want to be known as the first driver to win in the Challengers Racing League. And for us up the booth, we're excited to give you all the coverage, like we said, here on Tuesday nights. 200 laps at Richmond, and we're about to get started. Up front, it's going to be the 29 of Christian Stratter, as well as Roland Collette. Going to be your front row as they enter the restart zone. We are green for race number 1. Already some wheel spin being shown for the front row. Trouble strikes further on back for drivers trying to not run each other over, but it's going to be Collette, currently your leader, trying to hold off the rest of the field.
Stratter with a little bit of wheel spin there on the start allows Collette to get by. Now here comes the 32 of Carlson trying to use that top line and that momentum to get by the 29 machine, but looks like Stratter recovered well, holds off that battle for second place there. Now we're going to try to track back down this 10 machine, Salmon. Drivers got to be careful here. Tires are cold. Grip's going to be low, as you can see a little bit of overdriving there from the 32 on the entry to turn number 2 as they exit the corner, and the 29 tries to track down that 10.
overdriving, I feel like you can minimize. It's the exit you got to be the most careful about. It's the 29 of Stratter going to be trying to make a pass. Did not lead lap number 1 after the major wheel spin, but lap number 2, give it to the 29, as we're seeing 2 different leaders and already lead changes aplenty in the first couple of laps. It's your first couple of drivers trying to now settle in, and this is going to be the hard part. How do you settle in as everyone finally gets single filed out? And is this the safety zone? Again, 75 laps for this first stage, but with that fuel percentage, these drivers have to pit this stage.
Yeah, they're going to have to pit. They're going to have to figure out when they want to pit, how the tire wear is going to be, and a lot of things they're going to have to deal with at the short track. Same different braking zones, downshifting, another thing that they're going to have to contend with. And already you can see a little bit of some of the cars starting to wiggle a little bit on the corner exit, which notoriously tricky here at Richmond with how you have to drive these cars off the corner.
It is extremely tricky, as you can right on board with the races machine. Now Stratter in the 29 took the pole to start tonight's race off. Didn't lead that first lap, had a little bit of wheel spin that gave a chance for Roland Collette to have the better speed for themselves. And 5 laps in, the 29 is looking mighty speedy at this moment, but all these drivers trying to keep themselves consistent. I feel like, Trevor, that's the biggest thing here at Richmond, is find that rhythm and pace.
Yeah, it's all about the rhythm. You don't want to make too many mistakes on corner entry, driving in a little too deep like we saw the 10 do right there. Almost got into the side of the 32. It's going to cost you a little bit of time, but as well for the 32, getting up out of that groove is not somewhere you want to be. You can get away with running the high side a little bit, Sam, but if you get too far out of that groove, you're going to lose a lot of time and potentially spin your car out.
These drivers trying to settle their way in. Currently right on board, John Valesi in the 84. And again, a lot of knowledge for us. We're learning these drivers' names, we're learning their styles. This is just the first race, just the first handful of races so far. And it's going to be a lot of learning. Right now, though, John Valesi going to be the driver with the highest I rating of all drivers, or at least in the top 3 of highest I ratings, as going to see Brandon Beauchamp going to be low, and that's where that puff of smoke popped up. It was the 15 having trouble the lap before. Also, 15's trying his best to stay under control. But again, learning all these drivers. You might be wondering, though, our ticker is having some issues, and one driver is blinking horrifically terrible. That's Jesse Nowlin, who's having real trouble with his internet to try to stay stable, and that's going to be your constant blinking machine in the back half of the field.
Yeah, it's the joys of online sim racing. You just never know. Sometimes the internet connection doesn't cooperate with you, and right now Jesse having a little bit of issues with his connection as we still watch this battle for second. So just another thing the drivers have to contend with is maybe the competitor next to you might not be there all the time as you go around the racetrack.
Absolutely not, as the battle for second continues to stay side by side. Everyone else single filing out, trying to figure out who would you like to follow. Do you attempt the outside lane, or do you continue to stay on the yellow line? It seems like yellow line is your friend at this moment, as Hunter Carlson and Collette really giving us a great battle. But as they continue to fight for second, it's allowing Christian Stratter to just continue to pull away in the 29 machine. Almost up to 2 seconds is the gap, just 11 laps in. We were talking to some of the drivers as we were changing servers, as again the original server that we had planned for our original scheduled time had to be changed. What the drivers were saying, they had not run a full stint of green flag racing. They don't know the exact number on fuel, but 40%, I mean, that could be anywhere from 40 laps into a run to maybe 55, potentially 60 if you're saving fuel.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what that lap count's going to be for these drivers and how they like to do it. Do you kind of short pit it a little bit, stage lap 75? If you can go 44 laps, it's almost splitting it halfway. Do you try to under pit maybe and get a jump on these guys with some fresh tires? It's going to be a fun to watch, Sam. We talked to a couple of the guys, and they said it's going to they're going to play with fuel mileage and track temperature throughout the season. So it's going to make the season really interesting to watch for these guys.
It certainly will, as this race continues to progress on. You see James in a 38 machine, and all these drivers trying to settle in on where they're at currently right now. And we've already seen a couple of drivers have some movements because of the restart, a couple of shuffles with restarting troubles. Maybe he's having some wheel spin, but some of our biggest movers right now is going to be Rusty Modesty, up 3 positions. But the biggest mover is the 73, and Justin Malarkey, up 4 spots, trying to run down this 68 of Andrew Little.
Yeah, Malarkey trying to move up through the field, and closing in on the 68 machine as we go back here to, I believe that is the 73 machine there of Malarkey, as we're on board with him, trying to run down that group in front of him. You can kind of see the different lines, Sam, that these drivers are taking. We have one right there on the bottom of the yellow line, one kind of running in the middle of Malarkey with kind of a late diamond to the top of the racetrack on the corner exit there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of different styles. Like I said, different ways you want to take the corners. And so there's some drivers getting aggressive with the passing and trying to push up the driver that they're going after to move them up maybe a lane or two, is get the car unsettled. There are a couple of bumps that you try to avoid if possible through the corners, and having our first driver trouble striking for Malarkey off the exit of turn number 2, able to keep it off the wall as much as possible. The 73 lost the position, lost the time, and that's 2 spots given away for the 73. Now, again, we do have the stage break that will throw out a yellow at the end of lap 75, as well as these drivers have a fast repair to work with. Now, they don't want to be using it too early on, but with how troublesome this track could become later on in this race, especially around that stage break, I think that fast repair could be very crucial on the next time we have a restart.
Yeah, it's nice to know that you have that kind of reset button in your back pocket if you need it, but don't want to use it, in the first 20, 40, probably 50 laps of this race. Same as we're going to go 200 laps tonight. I feel a little bit nervous there. If something were to happen, you kind of throw that fast repair away early on, but as a driver, it always makes you feel a little bit better knowing you do have that option just in case something were to happen.
Yeah, it really does. That safety net always nice to have, as again, with the server issues, we aren't able to give you our normal pre-show breaking down how we thought maybe tonight's race was going to go. Also throughout the rest of the season, as more drivers having a little bit of slip-up moves, as I believe that was Peyton Long with a slight slip-up for the 18 machine, as now we watch the battle going on for 6th place, as going to be seeing Velocity going to be trying to set up a pass on this 38, just not close enough, but starting to see maybe glimpses of a chance to go for this 6th place position.
Yeah, you're about at that window now. Tire wear starting to kick in. The heat's really building up in that right rear tire, which has kind of been the Achilles heel of this next gen car since it came out. You typically got used to driving the car off the right front. You didn't want to burn the right front off. Now it's more you got to keep the heat out of the right rear to keep the car from just looping around on you. And right now, Velocity trying to close in on Catrone there in the 38 machine as they exit turn number 2.
Exiting turn number 2 and trying to continue find the consistency for this field as we're 21 laps into this race. Again, future races after tonight kind of following close to the NASCAR schedule. Whatever NASCAR ran on Sunday, that's what the Challenger Racing League will run on Tuesday. NASCAR heading to Michigan. That means next week we're heading to Michigan for the Challenger Racing League, and then Daytona after that, and Darlington. And you got to say, Trevor, we're following the NASCAR schedule all the way till the end of the NASCAR season. I'm curious on how this field is going to be preparing, with it being Tuesday when they race. That's usually changing day and update day on iRacing. These drivers might not get the best practice as they get prepared for each and every week.
Yeah, it could really kind of change up how you prepare. Typically, you run the week before. You can get the NASCAR Racing Series races in, the NIS races, the AFIX races to get yourself some practice. But those Tuesday days, they sneak in some updates and can kind of really throw off how the car feels and some changes to be made. So we'll have to see how that plays out throughout the course of the season. And especially with how the NASCAR schedule is, Sam, with the kind of the string of races in the playoffs that these guys are going to go through. It's going to be really, really fun to watch.
Seeing some of the other battles throughout the field, some of the closest ones really been in the middle of the pack, but here's what's going on up front. Seems to be closing in the battle for 3rd place as well for 4th place. Seeing the 6th machine of Rusty Modesty, one of, again, the biggest movers at this moment, up 3 positions from where he started. The 2nd highest of those have been moving forward, but the battle for 3rd and 4th starting to rage on a little bit more. Hunter Carlson as well as Matt Hayden challenging one another, but another huge challenge, the weather. Here's what the conditions are looking like just in our first 25 laps, as into the wall, trouble striking. That's going to be the 75 of Michael Martino, who's having his major issues of brushing the wall and trying to get out of the way for the rest of the field. But Trevor, 133 degrees is the track temp. That is very warm. with no change in the wind, they've at least got that stabled out for themselves.
Yeah, got the wind stabled out, but that track temperature, I think in practice it was 129, qualifying 130. So the track temp's gone up 3 degrees since we started this race, and this is going to make these cars even more of a handful for these drivers, especially as these laps continue and the tire wear continues to kick in. And I mean, we've seen it a couple times. We saw the 18 of Peyton Long get loose. We saw the 73 of Malarkey with his issues. Michael Martino we saw up in the wall. So I mean, issues starting to strike these drivers, and we're starting to see these lap times fall off, and the guys that were aggressive early kind of falling back into the clutches of these guys who've kind of been just pacing themselves.
And as this run progresses forward, again, we are closing into when we assume pit stops could happen in the next 12 to potentially 15 laps. And Trevor, I want to throw this over to you on a question of pit stops, tires. This is going to be a tricky situation on how you want to work this kind of rest of this race. We have the stage at lap 75, but we will have to pit stop in between the end of that stage and where they're at right now. Do you take tires at that moment? Because you only have 4 total sets for tonight, 3 sets of tires and pit road to work with.
You know, that's a good question. If I think the answer probably going to be no. You save that set to the stage break. If you wanted to be aggressive, I think you go 2 tires. Only having the 40% fuel, 2 tires would probably be about the same amount of time as them putting in the 40% of fuel, so you could get away with that. But I don't know how comfortable I would be, Sam, with this track temperature being as hot as it is, only having 2 sets of tires to go from, you know, potentially lap 40 to 50 all the way to lap 200. So I think we might see a lot of these guys just take fuel only.
That's kind of the dynamic of this league. They wanted to challenge the drivers on their fuel decisions as well on tire decisions. Minimizing the tires means you have to be very absolute on your tire strategy from the start of the race to the end. And there's not a lot of wiggle room when it comes down to strategy later on, unless somehow you save a set of tires. But up front, it's been a lot of cruise control for at least our top 5. They've been staying pretty stout on where they've been running, trying to minimize their mistakes. But drivers from 8th on back, it has been becoming a growing more concern. A lot of handling issues are starting to pop up of drivers taking extremely high lanes. It just seems like trying to slow down in the center off of the corner. Drivers are getting very loose.
Yeah, you don't want to try to slow down the kind of almost want to slow down the corner exit a little bit. Don't want to be in the gas as hard off the exit of the corner, because that's where the car really starts to slide on you and get away from you. That kind of bump out of turn number 2, and then the long kind of exit out of turn 4, where you really just want to get into the power to get the drive off. But that's really where you run into the most issues, Sam, is out of 4 and out of turn number 2, just trying to get back to that gas, and the cars are getting away from these guys.
So thank you so much to everyone that's joining with us, and those that are being so patient with all of the server errors that we had delaying this race by about 15 minutes. And currently 34 laps now in the book. Started lap 35, and it's going to be Christian Stratter still leading this race by over 4 seconds. This was a growing concern looking at practice times. Christian was looking quick, was about a tenth faster than most other drivers, and at times was almost 2 tenths faster than the whole entire field. 29 looks to be the ultimate, looks to be the best driver of the night. It's going to have to be something very out of the blue and mysterious to happen to make the 29 lose this race. But everyone else in the field, it's survive 200 laps. It's a long time, and any mistake could strike at any moment. As we ride on board with 18 of Peyton Long, getting his sense of the 10th place runner on how he's trying to tackle and stay on track. And see some of these drivers, a big thing to watch out for, gear ratios, driver shifting, trying to get through, as well as seeing the 18 trying to get by some lap traffic, as the 75 of Martino going to be staying low on the apron and letting the lead lap drivers make their moves.
Yeah, Martino having a little bit more issues there in that 75 machine. And I saw for a quick second there Peyton Long all the way down to 3rd gear, Sam. I think that was just kind of a reaction to the 75 with his mishap on board. But right here on board with Stephen Potter, you see right there 4th gear entering turn 4. And I think he'll go up to 5th gear here on the front straightaway before a quick downshift back into 4th until he gets back around to the exit of turn number 4. And there it is, Sam, the quick upshift, and then back down into 4th to get the car slowed down.
Yeah, I mean, you're focusing on your shifting, which easily drivers can make mistakes. I know money shifting is always a worry if you're using an H pattern. Most of these drivers in the next gen have sequential gear shifts to make sure that they don't money shift for themselves. But seeing the field all going with a similar strategy, most of this racetrack being in fourth gear, a little bit of fifth for themselves as we're closing in on lap 40. As we are closer and closer to potential pit stops based off the numbers that we were given, potential what if moments for themselves. But Trevor, in this type of a race, seeing a little bit more spacing, a couple of drivers are closing in on one another, seeing the battle for third place starting to ramp up of Carlson and Hayden, but take it all back, caution flags out, and it's Michael Martino spun around off the exit turn 4 for the 75.
Yeah, 75 having issues a little bit here over the last couple of laps, and I think finally just lost the handle on that machine and brings out our first caution of the night. And that kind of fuel mileage strategy, Sam, throw it out the window, because now everybody's going to be on the same strategy here, and this should be enough fuel to get them to that stage break at lap 75. Now the question is going to be, what are they going to do with tires? Do you take tires here, or do you hold off and wait and take tires on lap 75 when the stage comes out, as we get a replay to look and see what happened to the 75?
The Dunkaroos machine was trying to find a comfort zone, but touches the apron and immediately spins around. The apron is not your friend. See your leader drive on by, and then Martino thinks that he's clear. He'll drive down and just in front of second, third, and fourth, and luckily had enough time to get out of the way. But that was certainly a scare as we ride on board, get a sense of what Martino was feeling. Again, this was for 15th position, where the 15 was looming. He was one lap down, just trying to hit your marks, and just got a little bit underneath that mark was the 75. Sees the leader drive on by, and then goes the rest of the field. I think that's a clearance. We're going to tackle and move forward, and decides to damage the 75. Again, these drivers have fast repair, so that damage can get fully repaired, or could just decide to come into pit road and get that optional damage manually, just sitting in pit road. Let the timer click away to get the damage done. As pit road gets busy, everyone expected to come in and at least top off on fuel, see if the tire situation, who wants tires and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see. A couple of cars stayed out, though. The 29 of Strader stays out, and I believe the 32 of Carlson and Matt Hayden in the 5 all stayed out here, Sam. So
actually, numbers are coming in. I believe it was a few of the other drivers. It was because of how spread out the field was. They were actually able to pit sooner than everyone else.
Now that's interesting advantage to have if you're a little bit further back in the field. Got the pit road open before the leaders did there.
So the leader is going to be coming into pit road, topping off on fuel of Strader, Carlson, and Hayden. First group of drivers to take 4 sets of tires and fuel. It's going to be fourth place runner Colette, Malarkey, Little. They takes their first set of 3 that they had coming into pit road. So a couple of drivers taking the gutsy call. They want the track. They're giving up track position for some. Others want to maybe take a gamble on tires, maybe expecting this race to go long later on in this race, and might as well take the advantage now.
Yeah, not a bad call to do, and it looks like for Strader, Carlson, and Hayden, Sam, it looks like they've stayed out on the racetrack. So this is going to be a really interesting restart on 44-lap old tires, or I'm sorry, about 46-lap old tires compared to everybody else behind them on fresh tires. This is going to be a real mix-up up front.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of drivers, it looks like Stephen Potter, he decided to just top off on fuel. Same for Rusty Modesty. Going to be 38 at extended time on pit road. We'll have to take another look and see if he decided to take tires. Looks to be for the 84 in 10th place. He topped off on fuel. The 18, we'll have to take another look, see if he took 2 tires with his pit stop. And also the 40 machine took 4 tires. Rest of the field just topped off on fuel. They get ready for this restart, as Strader going to be your top runner at this moment, dominator of the first 40 laps of this race. Didn't lead lap 1 or 2, but once he grabbed back the lead, he's been up front. Colette, the only other driver to be able to lead a lap, in 4th place for the 10 machine, who could be maybe spicing up this race a little bit more. We'll find out with the tire difference as we are back to green flag racing, still on stage 1. Trouble on the inside though, as seeing the 32 of Carlson falling back quickly for himself. He wants to get out of there as fast as possible, as we still are under stage 1. Stage 1 completes at the end of lap 75, and here we go, Trevor. Looks like most of the field is pretty stout with the back half in trouble up front. It's all going to be Christian Strader.
Yeah, a couple cars in the wall further in the back of the field, and it was wheel spin for the 32 machine, but here comes the fresh tires of Roland Collette. He's going to look to the inside of the 29 machine for the lead, and this should be an easy pass for that 10 machine on the fresher tires, but here comes the 29 of Strader back to the outside. Sam using that outside line to his advantage to try to hold this off for at least another half a lap.
Don't want to just let the 10 machine pull away easily, but it's kind of hard to do when the fresh tires allow you to carry so much more speed, as Collette able to finally full solidify into the lead position. Strader tried his best to keep it on the outside. Not going to be the case, as Strader will fall to second. Also, the next drivers in line, it's going to be Andrew Little in the 68 in fourth, and third place, so Justin Malarkey. They have fresh tires as well underneath them. They're going to try to pounce for second and third position to get by the 29. The rest of the field, they continue to try to single file out, but just like that, I gotta say, Strader is impressing me on the fact that Christian, even on those older tires, keeping close even after being passed.
Yeah, not falling back as far as I thought he would and as quickly as I thought he would. Right now holding on to second, trying to hold off Malarkey, who's kind of lurking there in the third place position, but hasn't been able to really get a run on that 29 machine, Sam. And for Strader, I mean, this is really what you want. You don't want to, if you don't give up a lot of track position here, this will really work out for him. As here comes the 73 with a good run here out of turn number 2, going to look to the outside through 3 and 4.
Justin Malarkey in the 73 on the outside, going to be 37 on screen, 73 on our ticker, as Malarkey is one of those drivers showed up late for tonight's race, within minutes before the first session was notified, as we'll talk more about him later on. Trouble though in the middle of the field, Peyton Long in the 18 machine falls down the leaderboard. Looks to be trouble for himself, as that will bring out our second caution of the day, and still have time for more racing on the stage. 18 just found himself being slow after a mishap off the exit of turn 4 that just carried on for so long. We're going to see here for Peyton Long, and just exits off the corner, gets out of control, and tries to save the machine, and ultimately powers into the wall viciously, and that will conclude that vehicle. He's going to have to take the tow to pit road or try to coast his way to pit road and use a fast repair.
It looks like Peyton able to limp it back to pit road, but that is definitely going to be a fast repair for the 18 machine, Sam, as we saw there in the first part of the incident. As we get another look at it here, this is going to be a good onboard camera. On board with the 18 into the wall, the front clip goes flying, the front fender goes flying, and that's a yard sale, as they would say, and that's going to be a fast repair, and Peyton's going to be able to get back out there and back on track.
Gonna get back out on track, and this is gonna be putting us around 20 laps to go before the stage is over. Again, stage 1 concludes at the end of lap 75, but 50 laps in the books, 2 cautions. Trevor, not bad of a start of the race for this field. I think for some of them, maybe we're expecting a lot more cautions to come out. Got to give kudos. 50 laps in, only 2 cautions, especially with how hot this track is. They've done a great job of having some decently long runs.
Yeah, with kind of how we saw practice going, I'm sure these guys are elated with the fact that we've gone 52 laps, only had 2 cautions, and there's just been some little solo car spins, which is to be expected just in general at Richmond. It's bound to happen, somebody getting a little bit too happy on corner exit, but so far so good for these guys. I think only 1 car currently sitting on pit road, and that's going to be the 38 of James Catrone, who's being scored 7 laps down. So 14 cars still out on track, Sam. 12 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, I believe James, he was having some issues before that caution flag came out that he was dealing with. So just trouble overall for the 38 machine. I believe he had a miss shift coming to the start of this, the last restart. He was forced into pit road to get his repairs done. So Catrone's race not completely over. We do still have at least 1 caution that will come out at the end of the stage. Again, top 10 drivers hoping to get those bonus points if they possibly can. And right now it's the fresh tires of Roland Collette, excuse me, and Justin Malarkey going to be your front row for this restart. But overall, fresh tires look to be good. Stratter's got to figure out, though, with starting in third place, there is an opportunity to try to hold off for second position and maybe a bump and run to go back into first.
I mean, there's a chance. He's got to be careful though on the restart. We've seen it not only on the initial restart, but on the restart on that last caution. Wheel spin is going to be a thing these drivers are going to have to watch out for. Stratter did it on the first start, and then I believe the 32 of Carlson had a little bit of wheel spin on that last restart. So Sam, we'll see if the 29 machine can get a good restart here on these older tires.
Let's see if we can find that run. But again, stage ends at the end of lap 75. And I want to say thank you to all those that are watching with us here tonight, even with the delay that we had. Happy to give you the coverage of the first race for the first season, the inaugural start of the Challenger Racing League here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, we've got Justin Malarkey. Justin Malarkey going to be with me tomorrow night. Got Trevor Earhart with me. Trevor, it's been so long. I've missed working with you, but I got to get used to saying that you're in the booth with me now on Tuesday nights.
I know it's been a while. We ran out of Tuesday night stuff, and it took us a little bit to find a league to cover. And, you know, here we are back at it, and got to knock the rust off. Sam, I've been kind of out on my own adventure, doing some stuff with another broadcast that my league on Wednesday started. But happy to be back with you. We're back racing green.
We certainly are back to green flag racing, and it's the outside lane that was able to take off. The fresh tires just too strong, and it's going to be Andrew Little on the outside lane, able to make the pass for third place, pushing back Stratter back to even further into the group. Now going to be mixed and mingled with those that still have not taken their first set of tires that are sitting in pit road for them here tonight. Again, 3 sets sit in pit road of tires for the field that everyone has for themselves to work with for 200 laps. Our front 3 drivers currently already used one of those 3 sets. So they're left with just 2 from here on out. That's going to be a long time to work with, but it's going to be Collette still leading the charge. Led lap 1, missed out on the next 40, and ever since that second caution, it has been all the 10 machine up front. As we take a look at Andrew Little, started in 7th here tonight, up 4 positions from where they started. And again, part of the group that took tires, I still think that is a massive gamble with how long this race is going to be to take that set so early.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder what they're going to do on this stage break at lap 75, if it's going to be fuel only. And if that's the case, I mean, these caution laps are helping them not wear out those tires, Sam, but they're going to be at such a deficit to the guys on fresh tires when we get to the stage that I don't know if it's going to be worth it.
I don't know if it will be either as we continue to stay green here. It's the battle for that 8th and 7th place position. Rusty Modesty in the 9 machine almost getting ran over as the 84. He just missed Jaws, a little bit of lack of focus going into turn 3, but that was a close call. Luckily able to avoid carnage. The battle for 7th continues to rage on as we continue to ride on board with John and the 84 machine.
Everybody able to hang on to it, and John now trying to get back by that 6 machine of Modesty in front of him. Modesty going to dive it to the inside, John going to look to the outside, right to the rear bumper, and almost a little bit of contact there, Sam, but everybody keeps it straight, and we go another lap.
I mean, some drivers have similar braking points when it goes into turn 1, down into turn number 3, and as we hop on board with the 84, we've already seen what it's like on the hood cam of going into turn number 3. Here's what it's like going down in the cockpit. It just seems like willing to trust the brakes a little bit more on the entry point. It's hurting off the exit off of 2, as well off of 4. Well, I mean, it's always that well-known thing of slow in, fast out. And for this 84, it's more of fast in and trust that you've got the grip to exit out of the corner.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You want to have that comfortability knowing that you can get the power down on corner exits. You see the 18 there of Long close up on the back of Modesty there, and Long trying to recover after having to use his fast repair. And, Sam, that's the thing. You got to have that confidence that you can get to that power, and some of these drivers just kind of lacking that confidence. You see Long go by the 6 there.
Yeah, Long currently 1 lap down, trying to unlap themselves the hard way after getting by Modesty. That would place him hypothetically in 6th if that was where he was running on the lead lap, but instead will be still trying to charge up and catch to our leader of Colette. Here's some of the other drivers on screen as we take a look at the 32 of Hunter Carlson, currently a 5th place runner. And in between is stuck, going to be still moving forward. Peyton Longley is cruising right now after getting that fast repair utilized. Also getting like some fuel and tires underneath the 18. He has been on a flyer trying to cut through this field.
Trying to get back up there and unlap himself just naturally before we get to the stage break. That'd be a little bit beneficial for Peyton. Wouldn't have to take the wave around, or the lucky dog, I should say. But Sam, I don't know if he's going to be able to get up there in time as we jump forward to the second place runner of Justin Malarkey, who's hasn't let the 10 machine of Colette really get away from him. About a half a second gap here is Malarkey trying to hunt down that 10 to get that stage win.
Yeah, and Malarkey, I mean, I got to give kudos. On this initial last restart we just had, it seemed like the 73 was taking a lot more of higher approach, was losing a little bit of ground to Colette, but recentered. The last about 5 laps has been all Malarkey running down Colette. Has been at least 1 to maybe 2 tenths faster than the 10 machine. If we're able to stay green, we might be seeing a pass for that lead before the stage is over, as continuing to see the drivers of our top 3. They used their tires already. They've taken a set. They're left with just 2 moving forward. The rest of the field, they still have 3 sets of pit road to work with. It's Malarkey, Colette, and Little continue to pull away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, they continue to pull away a little bit. Oh, 1 car into the tire barrier on pit road. It's the 40 machine of Gregory. He made some contact with Brandon Beauchamp down the back straightaway in the 15. And trying to get to pit road, the 40 machine locked the tires up, got into the tire barrier there, Sam.
Yeah, and it looks to be black flag. Too many incident points, and was forced to do a start and go making a whole penalty in pit road for the 40. And was frustrated on the fact that he had to deal with that damage, and that's where he collected the damage in black flag to be forced to the pit road. This field very restricted on incident points, and is forced to pit road if you find yourself, oh, there's the contact into the water barrel. But if you have 6 incident points, or you're going to be forced into pit road at every 6 incident points, you will be given a black flag. And then if you hit 20 incident points, you're disqualified from the race. And for the 40 machine, just nowhere to go. A highly unfortunate circumstance there with having the 15 of Beauchamp just clobbering down with the overcorrection.
Yeah, just nothing Gregory could do there. Beauchamp just loose off corner exit, got into the 40 machine, and then just the unfortunate part, trying to get to pit road here at Richmond, really difficult to do. As we saw right there with the 40 machine, just getting into the tire barrier, or the water barrels, I should say. So unfortunate for him, going to go a couple of laps down. And Sam, that incident penalty, you know, something we don't really see a lot in other leagues, and that's going to be a huge talking point for these guys, not only here at Richmond, but when you get to the likes of Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, those super speedways where that could really come back to hurt some guys.
It certainly can, and one driver that's hurting, and most likely night is done. It's going to be the 75 of Michael Martino, who's going to be finding himself required damage for the 2nd time tonight. Already used that fast repair. The 75 potentially could be parking it here this evening, as all the behind the scenes, behind our leaders, has been chaos up front. It is a battle for this lead position. Malarkey as well as Colette have still a lap and a half to go before the stage is over. The 75 trying every different way to make that outside lane work, just not able to run on the white flag of our stage. And this is it for Malarkey. He ships it into turn number 1, a little bit too aggressive. And now Colette able to just drift away off the exit of turn 2, but Malarkey still willing to fight.
Still got a chance down here into 3 and 4. See if he drives it in as deep as he did into 1 and 2, but does not. Just going to settle for that 2nd place finish here in the stage, and it's going to give the stage win to Roland Colette, who holds off the hard charge from the 73 machine there, Sam. And now here comes the strategy back into play. These guys going to have to either take their 2nd set of tires and only leaving them with 1 set to the end, or be out there on old tires and get leapfrogged by all the guys who didn't take tires the last time around.
Here's your top 5 coming away at the stage. It's Roland Colette, Justin Malarkey, Andrew Little, Christian Strader, as well as Hunter Carlson. Your top 5 after the stage is over. Congratulations to all of those drivers. And for us up in the booth, we will find ourselves taking our first commercial break of the night. 75 laps in the book here at Richmond. You're watching the inaugural race and season for the Challenger Racing League here at Richmond here tonight. It's been a good one so far. Don't want to miss all the action. Don't worry, we'll be back right after this for more racing coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll be back right after this one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Tuesday night for the coverage of the Challenger Racing League. Season 1, Race 1 is underway. And our top two, Justin Malarkey, Roland Collette, going to be the two drivers. Did not pit for tires as they did so already in the middle of the stage. There's no more stage racing, so it's time for us to crank it up, see how these drivers can react. It's all about who's going to take it to the green as we are back to it. Here we go as we crank it up on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Back, yellow flag is thrown, and Roland Collette finds himself being spun for the 10 machine in the grass as he's re-entering. The yellow flag was thrown, and Trevor, it didn't take long. Those old tires, they were being hunted and hounded, and for the 10 machine, the grass was calling his name.
Yeah, just trying to defend his position, stay up with those guys. Got a little bit too throttle happy on corner exit turn number 4. Nice little spin through the grass, but no contact made with anything, so no harm, no foul there, but just a loss of track position for that 10 machine.
As right on board. This is what we were seeing on our Crank It Up. Just roared, trying to get rolling, and those tires did not like that reaction. And all the drivers moved away. But it was this action of getting back out on track with oncoming traffic that brought out our yellow that will reset the field. And, you know, with the fuel mileage, this could be a time, if you're further on back, maybe come to pit road, top off on fuel. I don't think anyone's taking tires at this moment just because everyone's already used the first set. They only have 2 moving forward, but it seems like this, if you're those drivers 8th on back, I might want to take that advantage of topping off here.
Hey, you never know what an extra, 3, 4, 5 laps can do for you if you decide to come down pit road and top off. And why not? You're already back there anyway, Sam. I like that pit call. If you're one of those guys further in the back of the field, like Brandon Beauchamp, Andrew Little, and Jesse Nolan, why not come down pit road and get a little bit extra fuel in that car?
Trying to figure out which options might be the best as the field is driving by pit entry. A couple of drivers will enter pit road. And the only one that was on the lead lap going to be Roland Collette. Going to be getting himself some potential service of some sort, as well as going to be the lap traffic of seeing Catrone in the 38 machine, and Martino also going to get repairs done. And Michael Martino, going to give credit to 75, has already used both fast repairs, had required damage for the second time, got the damage repaired, still out, going to be trying to fight to be out there on track. The unfortunate thing is he's 9 laps down.
Yeah, 9 laps down, but hey, track time sometimes is more important than, just where you finish. And for Martin, maybe trying to get a little bit more experience in these cars. You never know the experience level of some drivers when you get into new leagues. Some guys may be new to iRacing, some guys may be new to the Cup cars, Sam. And so right now, maybe he's just out there trying to log laps and get used to this car as much as he can.
Trying to get used to it and dealing with damage. A lot of these drivers might be dealing with it a lot throughout this season. Again, talking about how we're following the rest of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule that runs on Sunday nights here on Tuesdays, and it's going to be a fun season, I think, of watching the dynamic of what real life racing, how that might carry over to the sim side of things. I know Richmond in the real life NASCAR had the drama of Austin Dillon getting into victory lane, having to find himself with 2 drivers wiped out around him. But sim racing, I think the funniest thing about it, iRacing immediately making a Twitter or X post saying, hey, don't do that in the sim world, what you just saw on Sunday night.
Yeah, I don't think it go over too well in officials if you do that to a couple of drivers. I think you can get away with 1. I think the general understanding is you get 1 bump and run. You don't get 2. I think 2 crosses the line, and I think not only in officials, but I think all leagues kind of took a note of what occurred on Sunday night, and we're like, okay, guys, we can't be doing this. It's not good product to put out there. But hey, for NASCAR fans, it's an exciting way to end a race weekend, though.
It certainly is. I know Tony Stewart smiling somewhere, seeing that finish, getting to see drivers getting wrecked up. But for us here tonight, I know for most leagues, had to notify all drivers, hey, we do not want to see that type of racing either. But for up front, fresh tires, cruising away, is Christian Strader. No surprise, the 29 equal footing and advantage over some. The 29 is going to get up front and pull away. The question is, who's going to be in second place as Rusty Modesty in the 6 trying to find an opening to move up into the second place position?
And trying to get past Malarkey on those older tires right now, trying to hold off the field and see if he can do kind of what Strader did there, Sam, and only fall back a couple of positions on these old tires. So we'll have to see what Modesty, Hayden, and Velocity can do behind that 73 machine, and how far you see a little bit of a wiggle there from Malarkey. Almost got into some trouble there, but we'll have to see how this is going to play out and how far of a gap that Strader can build over these guys.
That shot gave us a great showing of just the accordion effect of that one slip up, goes backwards quickly. And speaking of backwards, troubles for off the exit of turn 4. It's going to be the 18 machine as well as I believe it was the 64. Major troubles for the both of them. And for Peyton Long, doesn't want to see that issue, but multiple drivers caught up in spins. As Long, I believe, spun out on his own. And then Steve Potter also finding himself going around.
Yeah, and that'll be the second time the 18 machines had heavy front end damage, and this might be the night done for Peyton Long. Already had to use his fast repair once. As we'll get a look here, exit turn number 4. You see behind him the Potter already having a little bit of issues with another driver, and again, Sam exited turn 4, just lost it, and there's really no stopping that car once it got away from him.
No, it's so difficult to save these machines, and that other one being the 15 Brandon Bouchamp that found himself giving contact to Stephen Potter, but you see he just overdrives the corner. A small little tap to the 64 gets him out of sorts and into the inside wall. It was a 64 Steve Potter. We'll see here a better showing. Talked about giving a bump. Well, there's a little bit of bump and extra. And for Potter, overcorrects into the outside wall, deciding to wreck himself instead of wrecking maybe a couple of other victims that were on track. And that's two drivers, one situation off the exit of the corner, two separate incidences, and two required damage flags for Steve Potter and Peyton Long as we ride on board with Bouchamp and just it's into the 64 and lets him go for a ride.
They had a little bit of contact back in turn 1 and 2 and continued it down here in 3 and 4. It kind of makes me wonder, Sam, if maybe something happened between these two at some point during this race that we didn't catch. Because, I don't know if he missed the corner or if that was just, hey, I'm kind of frustrated with how you're racing me type of thing.
Yeah, it's what's curious on, certain times that you give a bump to somebody is usually if you're going to give a bump and run for your committing to you want to go for a pass, it's early that you go for that bump. Sometimes you can see the retaliation from a mile away. Other times when you give a bump in the center of the corner, it's either that driver ahead of you had a little bit of a mistake or you're trying to drive through that driver, and right there a little bit questionable. Could be a little bit of mixture of maybe didn't mean to, but also could have been a little bit intentional. I'm giving you a bump.
Yeah, you never know. Something we might have to find out post-race if there's a little bit of a drama there, which I got to say, your race 1, 90 laps into it, we've already possibly got a little bit of drama. Same kind of piques my interest here for the rest of the season.
It was kind of funny. I gave out a driver survey this past Friday to kind of gauge how drivers felt coming into this season, get some backstory on some of the drivers, and there were some that said, hey, one of the questions maybe you should have put down was what were some past rivalries to watch out for. And I said, well, we want to give everyone a fresh slate. We don't want to already come in with a bias of, oh, this driver and this driver already hate each other. It's a new season, new series. And let's give everyone a fresh slate. I think we already found ourselves race 1 before we even get halfway. Our first rivalry that's building up as Steve Potter is going to use their fast repair, still in pit road with required damage, is going to be Peyton Long as we get ready for the 1 to go marker. That's when the pace car lights turn off. And for Peyton Long, he's no longer with us. He's going to call it a night, just disconnecting from the server, leaving us with 14 drivers on track as we still have a little bit over 100 laps to go.
Yeah, the engine popped there when he hit the inside wall. We saw the puff of smoke after he got into the wall, and that's about, depending on the car, between 35 to 45 minutes of required damage. And for Peyton Long, that's going to be his night done for tonight. Should see him finishing 15th tonight, Sam, but hopefully we see him back next week at Michigan, and hopefully his luck can turn around there.
I certainly hope, and overall for the continued growth for some of these drivers in the series as get that 1 to go marker. The drivers are ready to get back to racing action. We're stacked up, exiting turn 4. Stratter, Modesty, we're green as we take off here off the exit of turn 4 as we still have over 100 laps to go here tonight. 105 left on the board as they're going to be side by side. You can see them exiting at turn number 2. A couple staying extremely wide. They all single file out for our top 5.
Yeah, everybody's single file out relatively quickly there on this restart. Again, a great start for Stratter as he gets clear of the 6 of Modesty and then Velocity of I don't know if I'm getting that name right, Sam. Eventually we will learn everybody's name, but John in the 84 clear of everybody is Carlson, and those guys continue to kind of fall back through the field, and from Malarkey all the way back to 9th, Sam, on those older tires.
Yeah, and for those that are rooting for certain drivers, feel like, hey, you're pronouncing it wrong. We would love it if you could tell us, maybe phonetically in the chat how to say it, or we'll hear from the drivers themselves. They'll let us know if we're saying it wrong, as one of the drivers exiting out of dealing with issues. Looks like Steve Potter with black flag given, incident point limit over, as the 64 will be sent to pit road and most likely trying to call it a night. It looks like actually the 64 were trying to bring out a caution, and admin instead will throw the yellow.
That was interesting. Jumped right to his car right when you said that he might be coming down pit road. Wanted to see if he had any issues coming down pit road, but looks like Sam, he was in the grass on the front stretch. It looks like he might have spun out of turn number 4.
Well, it's going to be right here, I believe, on the exit of turn 4. It's going to be Justin Malarkey, a little bit wide. Gets into the 64, and he overcorrects into the outside wall, then goes back into the grass. But once he gets back on track, there is still no yellow thrown at this moment. And he's frustrated there's no yellow. He'll move from the grass, and then looks on his black box, looks back in his mirror, sees the driver entering his way, and a little bit of, can we bring out a caution motion by the 64.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, either was wanting the caution there, Sam, or got on the gas still a little bit too hard. Tires are hot and slick from sliding, and just lost control of the car. Who knows there for the 64? But frustrating turn of events here for Potter is he was having a good run, and a little bit of contact with the 15, and now contact with the 73 machine has kind of turned his night upside down.
As we'll take a look in the cockpit, get a little bit more confirmation. Again, this is after the incident. Now going to be frustrated, tries to get into the right gear, pops it into first, starts rolling from the grass. Gets into second gear, throttles up, goes a little too fast, gets into trouble there. But in that situation, usually you put it into third once you're at that point, and then you start to go forward because your tires are in trouble. But it's going to be Potter into pit road, and does have a black flag again over the 6 incident point limit. So already had a penalty on top of that slide and contact with Malarkey. I think that's ultimately what the frustration is building up for the 64. But the admins decided to throw the yellow after that issue.
Yeah, not a terrible call from the admins. The leaders were exiting turn number 4, coming to the line with the 64 kind of in a precarious spot, especially where he was kind of getting set up for the corner entry to turn number 1. So not a bad call. And Sam, I mean, we kind of touched on it as we were watching practice. There's a pretty good discrepancy in what is called iRating, with the drivers kind of it's what iRacing used to kind of separate guys into skill groups for their races. And some guys may be learning this car and learning oval racing, and other guys a little bit more experienced. And that's kind of one of those things that comes with experience, is getting these next gen cars back out on track after a spin without re-spinning it out.
And it's already tough enough with how hot the track's been here tonight throughout this race, and then having to slide just makes it so much worse with that extra heat. As seeing ourselves here with the track temp at 132 degrees Fahrenheit. It's dropped 1 degree from the start of the race, but that is still melting track temperatures that these drivers are dealing with. That is not comfortable for anyone out on track.
No, it's I bet you all these drivers are getting a pretty good hand or arm workout with how much they're having to work the steering wheel to keep these cars going straight. And for it to only come down 1 degree in 100 laps, Sam, I think these guys are going to have to be putting up with this track temp for pretty much the rest of this race. I don't see it coming down any more than maybe about another degree before the end of this thing.
If that. We have not really, yes, you can see in sim, there are clouds out there, but none of the clouds have reached over the track to try to cool it off as much as maybe they would hope here this evening, as we're now into the second half of tonight's race. Thank you so much for everyone joining with us. If you're enjoying the broadcast, we love it. Best way to show that you are enjoying the broadcast is to hit that like button to notify us that you're enjoying it. But also, if you are enjoying our broadcast, you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. We broadcast starting this week, 4 races starting from Monday through Thursday. It's we got done with last night's race in the ISRC Truck Series. They just ran at Homestead. Tonight, your new home as the Challengers Racing League for Tuesday night, WSSR on Wednesdays, and the Doghouse Cup Series on Thursday nights, as we are back to green flag action. It's going to be seeing the 29 once again up front. Everyone else, though, slightly more spaced out. Kind of surprising to see, but it's the battle for fourth place. That's side by side.
That battle for fourth between the 10 and the 84 machine is looks like Colette going to be able to clear the 84 of John there as they exit turn number 4 and move him up one spot as he tries to get back up there and get back to that lead spot and maybe challenge Stratter. He's been one of the faster, been pretty much the second fastest car all night long, him and Malarkey, Sam, but he's got a lot of work to do to get back up there and try to challenge that 29.
Certainly does have a lot of work. A couple more drivers troubles off the exit of the corner. Also saw right off the start of that race of exit 2, it was Jesse Nowlin as well as Michael Martino that both had issues off the exit of the corner. Both going to continue to race on, but Martino does have required damage flag at 75 for the third time, forced to pit road. We'll see if he gets those damages repaired and back out on track as rest of the field finally single file out as Andrew Little trying to hold back the strength of Hunter Carlson, which Carlson, interesting note, did pit under that last caution we just had, just topped off on fuel, so getting a little bit more fuel in that 32 machine for a little bit of a longer run potentially if we carry on, as Little going way higher than we expected to see there, and we'll just get that position away.
Yeah, overdrove the corner a little bit for himself, and looks like in 3 and 4 still might be struggling just a little bit up in front of them. The 6 machine of Rusty had the same issue in 1 and 2, just missed the corner completely and lost a lot of time. So drivers starting to struggle, Sam. I mean, they've got a couple of cycles on these tires that maybe not feeling as grippy as they were earlier on, and starting to really see that as one car goes way to the inside. I believe that's the 5 of Matt Hayden down the back straightaway.
Hayden with that issue going to be gifting the position to the 10 machine of Roland Collette. Collette is on the charge for the 10 machine. Again, had the spin and now able to recover already back from 13th up to 3rd position is the 10 machine after the mistake seen by Matt here, Hayden, excuse me, in the 5. See the Valley machine trying to figure out where will the placement be. May recover and make these passes back, but for now, just being hunted and hounded by the 84 of John.
Yeah, just kind of, got that 84, just applying some pressure there. And we saw the 10 of Collette get a little bit loose off of turn number 2 after he made the pass on the 5. And you can see the cars all starting to give a little bit of a wiggle on corner exit as the rear end starts to get a little bit lively. But Hayden looks like he's kind of found a rhythm now and trying to track back down that 10 machine and see if he can get back that 3rd place position.
Trying to get 3rd place back, but the 2 drivers that feel the most confident, top 2, Strader already almost a second and a half ahead of Modesty, and Modesty almost a second and a half ahead of Collette for 3rd place. So starting to see those gaps building out between each other. And our front 2 comfortably running where they're at right at this moment. And surprisingly, looking at some of the other drivers at this moment, again, 9 drivers left on the lead lap, and with the way that we saw this vehicle running in practice, Trevor, there was no surprise. This field was going to shrink with how difficult this track was going to be.
Yeah, not at all surprised to see some drivers having issues and be out of this race. Kind of expected it, Sam, and also with how spread out it's getting now at this point with the drivers being out and kind of the tire wear kicking in. It's starting to kind of play out, and this is where you're going to see the guys who can take care of their stuff really come to the top.
And the driver expected to be one of the first to hit pit road, going to be 9th place runner of Gregory. As Gregory actually, as I was just about to talk to him, gave major issues. He slams into the outside wall, and almost like he blew a tire. The 40 machine, absolutely destruction to the outside wall, as he was not able to slow down and is going to have to take a toe to pit road. I was going to say he was going to be the driver that was going to have to pit first. And he's certainly taking an approach to pit road in some way.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to get to pit road first is to have an issue like that. And we'll see here what happened to the 40 machine of Gregory as he comes out of turn number 2, and everything looks fine. It's going down here into turn number 3. Sam, I don't know if it just goes straight.
Something, it not either. His screen went black or his steering wheel just disconnected. Something went wrong mechanically that took out Gregory here in the 40 machine. And I was just about to say, he was going to be one of the first drivers that was going to be forced to pit road because he was the longest one out there. But taking a look here, and Yeah, it screamed went black. He forced it into the wall there and wanted to keep it at that moment, and that is a unfortunate circumstance to have. It is when we have equipment error on our side. Computer, iRacing, a lot of different factors. It's kind of like breaking a toe link, blowing a tire, blowing an engine. That's one of the small factors that we deal with.
Yeah, it's one of those things that happens. Like the internet issues, sometimes you just have equipment issues. The steering wheel comes disconnected. The monitors could go off if you're in VR. Your VR goes out. I mean, it's one of the fun things that can happen. And Sam, you were talking about tire wear. I mean, tire wear, one of those things that also the drivers gonna have to worry about. You get a warning. Your crew chief will come on and tell you you're under 50% for tire wear. So maybe that also had something to do with it. But the way that car just went right, I think you're spot on with that. That being some equipment issues for the 40 machine.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times where drivers, the screen will go black. They either throw it to the inside wall or to the outside wall, and they try to keep it there. Or sometimes their steering wheel will just lock up and take them to one direction, and trouble for that of Gregory. But looks like for Gregory did have a fast repair, so his race isn't completely over, but we'll have to take a tow. Going to be multiple laps down, which will leave us with 9 total drivers on the lead lap, and a couple deciding to stay out and not pit. 2 shocking drivers. Matt Hayden, who will be your leader currently, has not pitted for 41 laps. That was the last time he took tires and fuel for the 5 machine, and also same for the 28 of Jesse. Now let both staying out over 40 laps on fuel and tires for themselves. They continue to stay inside of our top 5.
I mean, I think at this point, you should have come down to pit road, taking a set of tires, gives you a set left to go, 80 laps roughly, Sam. I mean, I just don't see the benefit here of staying out, but hey, maybe they know something I don't know that's going to work out for these guys in the long run.
And shockingly enough, those that pitted, only 2 took 4 tires. Those being Roland Collette and Andrew Little in 8th and 9th position. Rest of the drivers from 5th to 7th just topped off on fuel. So they're just banking on 2 sets of tires from here on out that they're going to work with. And that means they're aiming on the strategy of there's most likely going to be another caution. And we want to have an extra set for that, as well as the for sure last pit stop of the night for when you know you can make it to the end.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out for these guys. 80 laps to go. They're at least going to have to make 1 green flag pit stop and use the set there. So if we get a late race caution, Sam, it could come down to who's got that extra set laying around. If we get a caution, with 20 laps or so to go.
Again, top 4 did not pit. There's a slight advantage to Justin Malarkey, but he looked like that car was tough to slow down. It was plowing a lot, looked extremely tight on entry. We'll see how the 37 on screen, 73 on our ticker is going to run in 3rd place. Well, 1st, 2nd, and 4th, trouble could be arising, but a great launch for Hayden. Even with those old tires, he takes off cleanly for the 5 as he rolls down into turn number 1. Rest of the field, side by side, all the way through.
Probably been the best start on old tires we've seen all night long. Hayden gets a great jump. Everybody else trying to sort their way through. Fresh tires, old tires, trying to figure it out. Malarkey gets up to 2nd place as he gets by Carlson, but here comes the 29 of Stratter trying to get by the 28 of Nolan, who looks like his internet issues, Sam, that we were talking about early on in this race have kind of worked themselves out as he's up there in 4th. But here comes Stratter trying to get to the inside of the 32 here for 3rd.
Again, big drive to watch out for. It's going to be the 10 machine right behind the green and white of Modesty. It's the 10 that's going to have the freshest of tires, trying to march his way forward, as well as the yellow and green and white of Andrew Little further on back. Right on board with the 10 of Collette. And as he's trying to work on the inside groove, again, big drive to keep in note is going to be Christian Stratter, who's going to be the driver who's been the fastest. But the advantage on tires does go to the 10.
Yeah, the 4 tires over no tires, just fuel only. It's going to be not a question of if, but a question of when the 10 can get by kind of everybody around him, and how much of the tires he uses up trying to get all these passes done. Got around the 6, now trying to close in on the 32 and the 29 in front of him. As you can kind of see, all the drivers spread out, running their lines, trying to figure out how to get around one another.
and still have yet to see a green flag pit stop, but Matt Hayden as well as going to be the driver of the 28, Jesse Nowlet, going to be the two drivers of note that will be the first if they needed to pit. If we stay green for 20 to 25 laps, they could be forced to pit road, as Colette using a little bit of muscle, getting Carlson pushed high and able to try to set up this pass for fourth place.
Yeah, kind of got into turn one a little bit deep, forced the 32 up the racetrack, and I think that kind of upset the 32. Almost a little bit of contact made as Carlson got a little loose there off of 4, but I think that kind of upset the 32 for the rest of the run down there through 3 and 4 and moved the 10 up one spot as he tries to chase down the 29.
75 laps to go. That's the distance that we had for stage 1. Had 2 cautions under that window. Here tonight, though, a little bit more stress. It's 75 laps to see who will win the first race for the first season of the Challenger Racing League. As drivers are single filed out. If you're just joining us, here's your race report. 7 cautions so far here tonight. As contest can be made, it's going to be seen Nowlet giving the bump to Andrew Little and the old tires to new. Surprising, Little was the one who got bumped high.
That was a little bit surprising, but Little hangs on to it, gives up a couple of spots, and I'm sure he's not going to be too happy about that. Getting kind of run over there on those newer tires, but hey, you got to be
trouble
aggressive.
ahead of him, though. It's going to be Strider as well as Colette getting into one another. They keep it straight, but they were sideways enough that they had to bring out a yellow, and Colette got a little bit antsy and went for the aggressive move for the 10 over the 29, and or the radio, they weren't too pleased about that contact with Strider, and we're going to reset them here. And this is that awkward time of a caution flag coming out. If you have 2 sets, this might be the time to use it as we take a look at this incident. You had Justin Malarkey kind of holding back parts of the field. Colette's trying to go for this pass onto the inside, and what grip you once had, it's disappeared over time and just absolutely takes out the 29. But great drifting, a little bit of assistance from the wall, and get it straightened out, but too far sideways with oncoming traffic. The yellow had to be thrown.
Yeah, yellow had to be thrown there, and that was an interesting move from the 10, Sam. I mean, so much room there on the bottom, but elects to kind of enter on the middle line there, and I don't think the 29 of Stratter was just ready for him to be there, and the 2 made contact, and around they go, and now it's going to bring a handful of cars down pit road. I saw Matt Hayden come down pit road. The 29 also down pit road as well. And I believe the 32 of Carlson down pit road. And this is that little bit you're talking about. Come down if you have those 2 sets of tires and take a set here.
Take a set, and majority of those that came into pit road will take that advantage for themselves. And with this time of the caution coming out with 70 to go, we'll take the advantage and take another commercial break here tonight. Again, say thank you to those that are watching with us on YouTube as well as on Facebook. We're having Facebook back on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, but you're watching the Challenger Racing League Race 1 Season 1. We'll be back with more Richmond racing action right after this. 5 wide behind for fifth.
Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work. They make it last, bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. Look at me, that's it.
It's
Bottom line, here it comes.
Oh,
Oh no, Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Turning, driving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck
Oh,
it.
they wrecked! They wrecked each other! The top two bounced into one another, just too much of side drifting off of, and they gotta be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Challenger Racing League on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth, Trevor Earhart, as well as running productions in the background is Robert Moyer Jr. Currently your leader, Justin Malarkey, who's on old tires and old fuel, still holding strong up front. You might be wondering, well, who's the driver in front of that huge pack? That is Roland Collette, trying to race for their life to stay on the lead lap. Had a black flag drive-through penalty after too many incident points, and one driver going a little bit lower than he would prefer to go, able to solidify that. It's actually going to be the 38, but right now Collette banking on a yellow flag yet to come out, but the race for the lead's underway. It's Rusty Modesty up front making the charge, trying to get by Malarkey. Again, older tires than the rest of the field. Malarkey on 38 lap holder tires, and you can see there just could not hold out any longer. He'll fall back to third.
Yeah, just trying to do the best he can to hang on to it, and going to give up 2 spots to Rusty and Christian there is Sam at 29. After that little bit of contact he had with the 10 of Collette, working his way back up to second, and the man who's dominated the race trying to get back up into the lead.
After being tapped by the 10 of Collette on that last yellow, it's done a great job of recovering, and now going to be challenging for that lead position. Justin Malarkey, again, we talked about some drivers, when were they going to be forced into pit road? Well, for Jesse Nowlet, there's been 3 cautions since the last time they went into pit road, but now let's still yet to pit for the 28 machine, and he's been out there for 66 laps. Curious on when that thought of pit road will loom, because then we'll get a better indication of when the rest of the drivers might have to pit, or do they have to pit before this race is over. Andrew Little, some of the freshest tires on track currently, struggling a little bit after has been bumped out of the way, has had some sliding moments, but a little
big wreck up front.
Started. Trouble up front are leaders. Oh no, it's Rusty as well as Strouder going to be involved in this one.
And Sam, it started with the lap car. The 40 of Gregory got up into the outside wall, and nowhere for Rusty and the 29 to go there.
What in the world? We're going to see on this replay. I've never seen this situation before. The 40 just brake checks the leaders.
I mean,
you saw the smoke. He brake checked the leaders. That's exactly what just happened. There was nowhere for the leaders to predict that this was going to happen at all. That you can predict a slower car, you can get around, but you cannot predict a driver to do this. Watch the tire smoke from the 40 machine, hits the wall, slams the brakes in. Boom. Our front 2 favorites gonna be sent to pit road.
I don't know. Maybe if the 40 Sam thought he was going to come back down the track and just locked it up, trying to keep it in the wall. But I mean, I saw it last second. I saw them just run over the back of him, and I was kind of confused as to what had happened. And there you go. The 40 issues on the back straightaway, stops the car, and the 6 and 29 nowhere to go. And hard contact for the both of them. At least a fast repair for the 6 of Rusty. I'm not sure about the 29 of Stratter, but definitely an interesting turn of events for those two.
Bizarre moment, and you can see the heavy front end damage. Again, required damage flag was given to the 6 machine, who's forced to pit road. Rest of the field going to be following in suit, and now The question of who will have fast repairs left. It's been actually quite a small number of drivers that have been forced to use a fast repair, but right there, another bizarre moment. And it's going to be probably our second, third driver going to be having to use a fast repair. Also, the 40 machine after that contact also has required damage, but had already used their fast repair. So, Gregory, most likely a race might be done, might be parked. We'll see how the admins want to deem that one. A bizarre moment that you rarely see. We got to see it here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Usually you talk about never seen moments when it comes to great finishes, wrecked avoidances, but I have never seen that.
Sam, I feel like you and I tend to just have the most random things. I mean, we've had the great photo finishes at Daytona, thinking back to some races we've covered, and now just the randomness of an incident that I've never seen before as well.
Oh, you missed the randomness last night. We almost saw a blowover of some drivers in the trucks. Those trucks are so flimsy at times. Almost saw one just flip over on the back stretch after being placed sideways here tonight. Got to see a lap car lock the brakes in front of the leaders. We still have 50 laps. There could still be more unknown chaos. 2 drivers, though, that will be sent for a black flag penalty, drive-through penalties for the both of them. We'll see if race control is going to be waving those away, but going to be Matt Hayden as well as the 84. Going to be John, going to be sent for a drive-through penalty, which, unfortunate for the 5, he is the leader currently. And frustrated enough, I know a lot of drivers with the penalty system that we have here tonight. Drivers have a total of 20 incident points that they can work with. If you get more than 20, you will be disqualified. But if you get 6 incident points, you have a drive-through penalty, and every 6 is another drive-through penalty. And it looks like for the 5 and the 84, both, once they go green, they are forced into do a drive-through penalty through the pit road.
Yeah, it's going to be shake this up. It's going to put Colette probably back into the lead and should promote Justin Malarkey up into second, I believe. Sam are close to it. He's going to have a couple of cars that he's got to get by, but it's really going to kind of shake up this field. And the 29, who was just in that wreck, might benefit from this, just depending on how these cars can get onto pit road and out of traffic.
How cleanly can they resettle as we are back to green flag action, and it's going to be Hayden. Again, black flag penalty, waiting to see if it's going to get cleared, and it looks like it might have been cleared by race control for the 5. The 84 is now disputing with race control, wanting to get their black flag cleared if possible. But Hayden, he'll be able to keep the lead with race admins gracing him with that clear.
It's a good break for him. Looks like the 84 gets his cleared as well, so good break for both of those drivers as they're going to stay out on track, not have to worry about potentially going a lap down. And now it's going to make it a little bit harder for these guys that were caught up in that last incident to work their way up through the field, is that they're not going to get those 2 free spots, Sam. They're going to have to work for it.
Work for every position possible for yourself here tonight. And again, fresh tires for Malarkey, fresh tires for Carlson. That is third on back. That's going to be trying to use an advantage here for these final 50 laps this evening at Richmond. Again, race 1, season 1, the Challenger Racing League. We're happy to give you the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as we still have more racing action throughout the week. If you want to get notified when we are live to see some of our other broadcasts, we have ourselves ISRC Truck Series action on Monday, the Challenger Series here on Tuesday nights, Wednesdays WSSR Cup Series. If you want to see open setups in the next gen, we have the Doghouse Cup Series starting up this Thursday. Don't want to miss any of the action. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell notification button to be notified as we continue to stay green, but some drivers getting a little bit frisky. It's the 10 of Colette. He looks to be slightly out of control. And here we go, Trevor. The 10, the 29. Last time they were this close, the 10 just took out the 29. What retaliation will we see, or will there be retaliation here at Richmond?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this little battle between these two. We saw the 10 kind of clean out the 29, use them up in turn 1 the last time they were battling with each other. Will the 29 kind of pay back the favor? But here's where you got to be careful, Sam. That incident with the 29 and the 6, that's a 4X for the 29. If he gets into the 10 and the 10 gets sideways and out of control, that could be a 2X for Stratter, and that could be a drive-through penalty for him. So he's got to be really kind of careful racing around this 10 machine.
But with the fact that we've seen race control already remove some penalties, it might be deemed that the 29 could get a grace period from race control, saying, hey, you remove their black flag, maybe remove mine. As we're seeing the 10 and the 29 continue, this is racing for 4th place, for second, first and third. They're trying to pull away as quickly as they can, but right now it's Hayden doing his best up front. But again, we continue to watch and see, will the 29 get retaliation instead? Gets a clean run to the inside, sticks it low on the yellow line, and that is a clean pass for Christian. It drifts high, using up all a bit of this track, and right up to 4th place is the 29 machine.
Yep, nice clean pass. Don't have to worry about it now. Just got to go hit your marks, get the next car in front of you, which is going to be the 32 of Hunter Carlson. And Carlson, Sam, a little bit loose. One car in shot, really loose out of the exit of turn number 2. I believe that was the 28 machine of Nolan who got loose. But for Christian, just going to keep clicking these laps off and working his way up through the field.
Nowlin going to be having that trouble in the 28 machine, but keeps it straight, so we stay green here tonight. And now we keep our sights on the battle for 3rd as Hunter Carlson. Will the 32 have anything to hold back that Reese's machine? Or will we see Christian Schrader, who's been the fastest driver on raw speed here this evening, be able to make these passes cleanly with the fresh rubber that was grabbed just nearly 15 laps ago for the 29. Again, our front 3 are keeping it close. They're not able to really scamper away from one another. This just seems like Trevor, wait until the 29 sees an opportunity, and he's going to make these passes on all these drivers ahead.
Yeah, I think it's just waiting for your opportunity to open up to make these moves. As right now you see the opportunity open up for Justin as he gets to the inside of the 5 of Hayden there. Battle for the lead, and that battle is going to be over with as they exit or enter down into turn number 1. Hayden going to try to fight back on the outside. Just doesn't have anything for the 73, and it's going to open the door for potentially the 32 and the 29 there, Sam.
Side by side, Hayden's falling back. Now into the conveyor belt that just pushes the 5 backwards. Those old tires no longer going to be useful for the 5 machine. He tried his best to stay up front, but for Matt Hayden, it just was not enough to keep that position. Was graced by getting the black flag removed, so didn't almost go a lap down, but instead will be struggling for this 3rd, 4th place position and will fall to 4th as we see the likes of the 29 move forward. Now the winning position to Justin Malarkey, 40 laps to go. And again, we still haven't seen green flag pit stops. The fuel window is 40%. We're given a rough estimate of how far they could go, but that estimate really does change with all the pit stops we've had. Malarkey, Carlson, Schrader, this top 3, they are in position to feel pretty confident to maybe take it to the end with less than 40 laps to go.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get to the end on this fuel or if they're going to have to make that green flag pit stop. And, you know, what happens if we get a late race caution here on, you know, maybe lap 180, 175, somewhere in that range, what these guys are going to do. Who might still have a set of tires left is, I believe that was Collette there with a little bit of a wiggle out of turn number 2 is Malarkey still continues to lead this field and Carlson trying to give chase. And I gotta say, Strider not making as quick of work as these 2 in front of him, same as I kind of anticipated that 29 doing with the speed that he's shown earlier on.
I mean, once again, we are seeing Strider on those slightly older tires than everyone else. Is Hayden, big save for the 5 machine. Behind, you saw that blue, red, and white machine snap loose off the exit 2, gifting 4th place to Collette. But it's always seemed like when there was a slight advantage on tires, the rest of the field was able to match the speed of the 29, and that's exactly where we're at with our top 3 matching pace. It's now down to minimizing your mistakes before this race is over.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key thing. You don't talk a lot about mistakes unless you're maybe at a road course where, you know, any little mistake can cost you, seconds out there. Here, just costing you tenths, overdriving the corner, not being able to get the power down out, off the corner, that can cost you tenths. That allows everybody to close back up onto you and be on your rear bumper, and that's where these guys are going to have to be careful, Sam, especially on these corner exits with how these cars have been getting loose on these guys.
Currently out on track still is 12 drivers, 10 of them on the lead lap, but we kind of have ourselves 4 different pods of drivers. We have our top 3 you see on screen, and then from 4th back to 8th place is our second pod. Then from 9th to 10th is a third position, and then scattered between the race is the 38 and the 15. And there's our pod of drivers. This is our third pod that's out there of Andrew Little and Steve Potter that are in 9th and 10th position, both on the lead lap, but both have had rough evenings to where they're just trying to salvage a decent finish here this evening.
Yeah, just trying to get everything they can, you know, every position they can, and just get all the laps worked out. And for the 68 and the 64, both of them had a little contact with other drivers. I think for the 64, he's had to use a fast repair at some point over the course of the night. And just trying to hang on to those into the top 10 positions for those guys.
Trying their best. Here's the battle for 4th place on screen as it's Roland Collette trying to hold back Matt Hayden, as Hayden's trying to fight back to grab this position back for himself after that looseness that kind of gifted the position for free. But we got to move back up front because Justin Malarkey, he's been leading strong for the last 12 laps, but he is now under fire, and it's getting closer and closer. Hunter Carlson, as well as Christian Stratter, closer and right on the back bumper. All three drivers within less than a half a second of one another.
And just nose to tail, pretty much all three. The top three, you can throw a blanket over him. You see the 32 right to the rear bumper of Malarkey through 3 and 4. It loses a little bit of time on corner exit. The 29 lost a pretty good chunk of distance there on corner exit of 4, and right now the 32 drives right to the rear bumper again. Sam, here he comes, pressure's on the 73 machine as they head into 3 and 4.
Malarkey's hoping to keep it strong on the outside, has to gas it up maybe slightly early, but instead stays patient, gets back on the throttle. They're gonna be almost a dead heat drag race into turn number 1. Who's willing to use their brakes so slightly later for an advantage? And it's Carlson sticking to that yellow line, trying to ramp it back up to full song, but they stay side by side. Again, another drag race now into turn 3 for the battle for the lead position. Carlson going almost slightly wide. You got to be careful. Any mistake from this battle, it's going to be putting the 29 back in that lead position.
Yeah, I mean, they're pulling a little bit of gap back to the 29, even battling side by side. So these two slightly pulling away, and it looks like maybe here at turn number 2, the 32 going to be able to get the lead spot, and that's going to be it. Carlson clears Malarkey for the lead. Sam and Malarkey did everything he could to kind of hold on to that outside line, just not able to hold off the 32. See if he can recoup and try to get back up there and battle him again.
Justin Malarkey, usually in the booth Wednesday nights here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. He was looking for a league to run that we cover. Heard about the Challenger Racing League, said I wanted to have a chance at this. Not one of the regulars that moved away to create this league, one of the newcomers that wanted a chance, and what a chance he has been proving out to be a contender on Tuesday nights. Malarkey holds back for second place. Hunter Carlson, though, he is pursuing his way to try to build up this gap.
Yeah, trying to drive away from these guys, and now it's going to be a battle for second between Stratter and and Malarkey as we see a lap car coming back onto the racetrack in front of the leaders. It's going to be the 15 of Buchamp there that's going to try to have to get out of the way, and it looks like he's going to do so here on the front straightaway, get out of the way of our race leaders. A nice clean move by him, but the battle for second, Sam ramping up as they enter turn number 1.
Still Malarkey going to have a quarter panel ahead, I mean a half a car length ahead, but running about a groove higher than you would prefer to run. And that defensive line, it's still working. But again, the 73 continues to just look a little bit too high for my liking through 1 and 2. 3 and 4 looks a lot cleaner on that side of the track.
Yeah, it looks like he's not completely comfortable with the car, maybe on entry into 1 and 2, or having to run that kind of higher line to maybe keep it from getting a little bit too loose on him. Maybe has a lot of rear brake into the car that's maybe upsetting it on corner entry. But through 3 and 4, all the way down to the yellow line, so he's got something figured out there. Is kind of starting to pull away as he gets into the outside wall there, but starting to maybe pull away just a little bit from the 29.
Trying to find a way to pull away if possible. One driver, I'm not sure if this is scheduled or maybe an emergency pit stop, but Rusty Modesty does enter pit road. One of our first to make a green flag pit stop, and with coming up to the closer to 20 laps to go, Again, this race isn't fully over. Was the undercut the better decision here? And how many other drivers might be thinking about pit stops before this race is over? As another driver hits pit road, it's the 10 of Roland Collette. It looks like we're in the window of drivers. If you're gonna pit, if we stay green, this is the time to go to grab that advantage for the undercut.
Oh, here we go, Sam. This could get really interesting with this race. Pit stops underway. 2 drivers already making them. And those 2 drivers been up front at some point over the course of the night. So we'll see if this plays out. And if our leaders are going to have to make this pit stop, and if they do, when do they decide to make it? As to not give up a lot of time to Collette and Rusty, who have already made their pit stops.
Those drivers about 5 to 10 seconds off of our leaders when they came into pit road. So we'll see if there is enough time to gain positions. Or are they banking on maybe our leaders running out of fuel? And are our leaders banking on this race to maybe have a late caution to salvage this finish? With the timings of the yellows, they've been right around the time that we expected green flag pit stops to happen. And, you know, later on in the race, got a little bit more experience underneath you. And it seems like the field, they're feeling a lot more comfortable at running this racetrack. But Carlson has just completely gapped away from Malarkey. Malarkey is really holding back the 29. Just no opportunities to make this pass. And the gap is now almost up to a second and a half. As again, 2 drivers have pitted. Carlson snaps loose there. That's the mistakes you cannot make this late in the run.
No, that's not what you want to see. Was running about 3/10 quicker than second and third, but that little bit of a slide is going to bring them back just a little bit closer. Gives up about 2/10 of a second there, Sam, and a couple more slides like that, those rear tires are going to get hot. You're going to start to lose traction, and that might bring the 73 and the 29 back into this battle.
18 laps to go. We're right on board with Justin Malarkey. Get a sense of what he's been feeling these last handful of laps. Again, runs in that second groove. He's been slowly getting higher and higher through 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Just trying to find any inkling of grip, it seems like, for the 73 on our ticker, 37 on his vehicle, and with 17 laps to go, continues to hold back. This is what the cockpit's like for Malarkey as he watches Hunter Carlson just get smaller and smaller in his windshield, with the mirror still full of orange.
Yeah, it's a tough feeling watching the leader drive away from you and the guy behind you just hounds you, but up through the gears, up to 5th, down into 4th here into the corner. And it's kind of a late downshift. Another car coming off of pit road that these guys are going to have to contend with. Looks like they're going to be clear of the 38 of Catrone. And Sam, this is the question. I mean, if you have to make this pit stop, if you're one of these top 3 guys, do you make it early and try to, force the hand of the other guys you're racing?
I mean, for all of them, they all pitted at the same time for fuel. Some pitted for tires. That was Carlson and Malarkey. Stratter did not take tires, and now with lap traffic pressuring both of them, who just took tires, was the 38 of Catrone. This pressure is not comfortable. We might be going 3 wide for second place, but it's a lap car that's going to force it 3 wide, backing out to the 38 machine, and that's a smart play for themselves. Other drivers are battling for position for 5th place, Andrew Little, but Stratter, seeing Malarkey go extremely wide. There's the opportunity. They made your mistake, and the 29 will try to solidify for second position. They'll drag race into turn 3, but that ultimately was the mistake in the opening that Christian was looking for.
Yeah, Malarkey really starting to struggle. A little bit of a lockup into 3 and 4. Saw a little bit of white smoke come off the tires as he's really starting to struggle to get this car slowed down and turned in. Here comes the 38 of Catrone on those fresh tires. Dives it in there. That's going to force the 29 up the track and open the door for Malarkey, but I don't think he's got the tires left on that 73 machine, Sam, to challenge the 29 who's clear.
No, the tires are gone. It's kind of just to salvage what you can type of a mode. And if you're Malarkey, I mean, do you go into a complete just save fuel mode? Again, we've had ourselves 4 drivers, that have pitted during this green flag run. They're expecting more green flag pit stops to happen, or maybe to run out of fuel before this race is over. But 12, going to be 11 laps to go once Carlson crosses the line. It could be just right on the window. And if you've been saving your fuel with all the caution laps we've had, with the braking zones of maybe getting into the clutch, maybe backing off a little bit sooner into these corners, there's small ways that you can save fuel, especially on a 3/4 of a mile course.
Yeah, you clutch in, let off the throttle earlier. Don't get on the throttle as early on the corner exit. can save you, enough fuel to make it a lap, maybe a lap and a half more than your competitors. You see Malarkey getting the outside wall at 73, really struggling, Sam, and we'll see. I mean, right now, our leaders on lap 45 since they've all been down pit road. And the question is going to be, can they go another 10 laps? Can they go 55 laps to get to the end of this thing?
That's going to be the ultimate question. 10 laps to go. Is the fuel there for Hunter Carlson? Or will it be finding themselves with the masterclass strategy of Rusty Modesty and Roland Collette that still are one lap down, but battling for who will be the first driver who's already pitted in their positioning for 10th position currently. I mean, for 9th position, excuse me, as they continue to fight. It's still Hunter Carlson, 8 laps to go. Each lap that ticks away, the more the stress level kicks in, the more that you're saying, please, oh please, have enough fuel for me.
Got to worry about fuel, got to worry about hitting your marks, tire wear, and then the potential of a late race caution. You never know what might happen. Behind you, around you. We saw it in the real race on Sunday with the lap cars getting into each other with 3 to go. So who knows what might happen here, Sam, as the laps continue to tick away, and they tick away quickly here at Richmond. 7 laps to go.
We certainly can take away very quickly at this time. Looking at some of the battles that are happening on track, there aren't too many that are right on top of one another. It looks to be if there's going to be a caution, it's most likely going to be a self-spin or someone exiting out of pit road. But currently, Hunter Carlson wanting this race to stay green. If we take the white flag, this race becomes official. But if we had a caution with 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go, anything before that white flag, we will head to overtime. And the field knows that is when things get real crazy. We've already seen some drivers willing to make some dive bomb moves who would try to reenact the Austin Dillon finish that we got to see this past Sunday in real life NASCAR. Continue to stay green for now, though, as we cross the line. 5 laps to go for Hunter Carlson.
Carlson just crossing his fingers, crossing his toes, hoping this thing stays green, hoping the car stays under power. And, we've seen him get loose a couple of times out of these corners, but these last handful of laps I've been watching him, Sam, looks really calm and composed, pulling away still about 5 tenths quicker than the 29 the last time. So, I mean, he can really just kind of run his own pace here with 4 to go and get the opening win of the season.
But is that pace because everyone else is saving fuel for 1 more extra lap? Well, Carlson is just in full song, trusting that he's got the fuel to the end of this race. There are so many different calls that could be being made right now. We're going to be 3 laps to go for Hunter Carlson here tonight. Those that have already pitted, still 1 lap down, is Roland Collette and Rusty Modesty. Their only way of advancing in position is to see a caution flag fly later in just the next lap or 2, or see everyone else in front of them run out of fuel. But with the confidence we're seeing out there on track, now 2 laps to go, I don't see Hunter running out of fuel, because the laps he's putting down, that's not signs that he's worried about fuel.
No, I don't think he's worried about fuel. I don't think he's really worried about anything. Just out there on cruise control, 2 laps to go. Going to come to the white flag here this time by. No pressure in front, no pressure behind. Sam, it's looking good for Hunter Carlson to get the opening win here for the Challenger Racing League.
Hunter Carlson looks so strong for himself here this evening. Qualified 4th. And with the white flag out in the air, this race is official. Your white flag is presented by Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And Hunter Carlson up 3 positions. He qualified 4th. At moments, he showed some brilliance of speed, but it came down to strategy, a little bit of late help. In the 32, your inaugural winner of the Challenger Racing League goes the 32 of Hunter Carlson here at Richmond.
Got it done when it mattered the most. Played the pit strategy pretty well for himself. Was able to get in front of everybody on the fresher of the old tires and hold on to the challenges from Justin Malarkey and Christian Strader there, Sam, and gets the inaugural win. That's going to be one happy man to talk to here in a little bit.
Absolutely, and what a run for this field. Your top 3, like you said, Carlson, Strader, Malarkey. And we'll be talking to those 3 as we get to see the burn it down moments at the moment. But we're going to be stepping away. When we come back, it's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, get their thoughts on this evening. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the post-race show of the Challenger Racing League Season 1, Race 1. It's in the books, and your inaugural winner will be the 32 of Hunter Carlson. Just realizing we won't be able to talk to the drivers because we cannot move them currently in our Discord. So that's awkward for ourselves at this moment. Thought we had the ability to. We're going to have to get a quick moment. So instead, we'll actually have Trevor's thoughts on tonight's race as we try to get the abilities to be able to move the drivers. But Trevor, I mean, what a race. First race of the season. What are some of your thoughts on tonight's 200-lap adventure we went through?
I mean, it was fun to watch. A lot of kind of not what I expected for the finish. I thought after we saw the 29 of Stratter get out to the lead, I thought he was going to be the dominant car to beat. But a little bit of a pit strategy, Sam, and an unfortunate incident for him in the 6 of Rusty down the back straightaway kind of shook things up. And Hunter was able to come away there with the win, held off everybody. And I think going forward for the rest of the season, I think we're going to see some interesting races, maybe a little bit of rivalries brewing between some drivers with some of the incidents that we saw here tonight, and the incident point limit that these guys have could really play into things. As I believe we have Justin Malarkey in the booth, who's our 3rd place finisher.
We do have Malarkey with us. We're going a little bit opposite, I guess, with the way we're doing things. Justin, you got to finish 3rd here tonight, got to lead this race at moments. How are you feeling with your performance here tonight?
Sam, it's so fun to talk to you on the other side of it. Usually we're up in the booth together. Now I get to talk to you here. It was a fun race. The track was really hot. I'm sure you talked about the weather being really hot. It was slick. I'm sure you talked about my blinking. I have to give apologies to Steve Potter. Unfortunately, I had my right monitor only, and I was like, I can't see anything except the right side wall, and it finally came back with borders, and the second it came back, he was right there, and I wrecked him, and I hated that. But yeah, luckily we were able to drive back up to 3rd and kind of cook the right front tires and settled into 3rd place.
I mean, Justin, you talk about the track and how hot it was. I mean, we know with these next gen cars, the right rear tends to be the one that kind of lets go in these hot temperatures. But there, at the end when you were battling with Hunter and Christian, it looked like the handling really went away from you and you kind of locked up into 3 and 4. I mean, what was the overall handling characteristics of the car throughout the course of the race tonight?
I unfortunately was having a problem of cooking my right front every time I came in the pits, and I was running. Normally I run a lot of rear brake, and today I kind of rolled with a lot of front brake, and I actually felt really good with the drive off in the beginning of the run, but I paid the price on the long run. When I saw it was shorter fuel, I was thinking maybe I could push these tires perfectly right to that 50-lap window, but I kind of only was getting about 30 to 35 laps out of them with that setup. So we'll go back to the ballpark and figure it out. But I was unfortunately cooking my right front. Like you said, I slid the right front a few times. Actually, I felt like the left front I locked up a few times even.
I mean, Justin, overall, a great performance and great showing with the new league that you're running here tonight. We're heading to Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington as we're following the NASCAR schedule to the end of their season. Now, how are you trying to prepare for yourself with these upcoming races, especially with running on Tuesday night where we have the unknown of updates happening right before the race?
Yeah, I actually was almost nervous I was not going to race tonight, Sam. I was having a little bit of configure issues, but everyone in this league was so nice and helpful to kind of walk me through some stuff and got me out there. So I owe those guys a huge thank you. I got to give you guys a big shout out for broadcasting this league tonight. We're going to get the card accounts up. Got some people that I was messaging who are interested in coming Tuesday night. So probably get those numbers up next week and let them know. So I'm looking forward to Michigan. I think that's going to be a really fun race. And hopefully we'll get some nice long green flag runs.
Open for it as well. Well, Justin, if you have any other shout outs, the floor is now yours before we call it an evening for yourself.
Yes, real quick, shout out to some of the family watching. It's been a while since I've actually gotten interviewed because I seem to not be in the top 3 lately. And it's nice to get up there. Hopefully you guys put on a great show, and looking forward to racing with you guys tomorrow night or on the broadcast.
It cannot wait for it. Justin Malarkey is going to be in the booth with me tomorrow night for the WSSR. But Justin, for tonight, congratulations on a top 3 finish. Enjoy it, and hope to be talking to you next week at Michigan. As we move away from 3rd place, we're going to go to 2nd position, a little bit different from what we usually do. We usually go 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but Still in the middle is second place, and we'll talk to the 29 Reese's Machine. We have Christian with us. Christian, you come away with second place. You look like the most dominant car for the first half of this race. It kind of got a little tricky there after your contact between yourself and the 10 kind of running you over. But how are you feeling coming away with a second place finish after all of that?
I mean, I feel pretty good. It's a great start to the season. Lead some laps, come out, and get a good finish. It was a tough track, anyways. This week, it's not my bread and butter, so coming out second is definitely something that I can definitely be proud of.
I mean, Christian, did you feel like you had anything left for the for Hunter there, or was it you kind of just use your stuff up trying to run them down and get by Justin and just kind of settled for second?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of used it up trying to get back through the field. And then once I got to second, I already could tell trying to get around Justin was pretty difficult. So I kind of wanted to just settle in, make sure to not make any mistakes, because we saw a couple from people in the front, and I didn't want to be one of those as well.
I mean, Christian, I know I had throughout the survey of drivers getting their thoughts coming into this season. I asked what your goal was. Your goal to make the final four. Does that mean that you're feeling confident on getting some wins this season? And do you feel like any of the next races coming up at Michigan, Daytona, or Darlington you have circled up as a race to potentially win?
Yeah, I definitely feel confident going in and getting a couple wins. Darlington's one I definitely have circled. That's probably my favorite track. Michigan's been pretty good to me. My big thing is the 1.5 miles, the 2 miles. A lot of your intermediate tracks is where I kind of find some speed. And I mean, I haven't raced with a lot of these guys prior to, but there's definitely some fast guys. It's gonna be a hard season, I can see, and hopefully we'll be able to score a couple victories.
Well, an impressive run here tonight. Certainly made an impression for us up at the booth, Christian, on your performance. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
I'd like to give a shout out to Hunter. It's actually one of my teammate. That's my teammate there who won the race. So big shout out to him. Of course, to everybody that's been putting this on, putting this together. Shout out to Matt and Rusty for bringing me in. And then, of course, to you guys. The broadcast is huge. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, thanks for giving us such a great show to cover, Christian. Congratulations on second. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Michigan.
Appreciate it, Sam.
As we move from second place, we go down to victory lane to talk to Hunter Carlson, who will win the inaugural race for the Challenger Racing League. Hunter, you find yourself working hard to get by Justin Malarkey there late, but once you took the lead, it looked like you were unstoppable. Well, how are you feeling coming away with the first win for the first season here in the Challenger Racing League?
Are you guys not entertained? I came into this race not being able to get into turn one without spinning, and I can't believe this just happened.
I mean, Hunter, it was a great race to watch. You worked your way through the field there, played the pit strategy well. I mean, what were you thinking there? You know, around lap 170 when it was you, Justin, and Christian there, you all were all kind of nose to tail. You running second, trying to get by and hold everybody off.
I was just thinking if I can just get that track position and maybe have a shot at the end, especially when I know Justin was on a little bit older tires, that if I can get out front, I think I might be able to do this. If not, Christian was the only other car I felt like at that time in the race that could run with me and probably outrun me. And if I felt like if I can get out there and out front, I could probably hold him off if it came down to it.
I mean, Hunter, you as well as your teammate responded to my survey on your thoughts on the goal for the season. Your goal was just to improve every week. I mean, how do you improve from a win like you just had? And are there any racetracks that are coming up in the schedule that you find yourself excited for, or feel like you have another chance to get another win under your belt?
I feel like Darlington is going to be a good race for me. I've always ran ran well there, and it seems to be good at these old fashioned rhythm tracks, and I feel like Darlington's going to be a good one for me.
Well, we cannot wait to see you perform at Darlington in just a few weeks. But Hunter, again, congratulations on the win. The floor is now yours for any shout-outs. Hunter, are you still there? Well, I think we might have lost our winner of Hunter Carlson, but Hunter coming away with the victory here tonight. What a run for the 32 machine. Again, it stayed on the fact he had not a lot of confidence, was struggling to even get into these corners, but still found a way. 200 laps, a lot of practice to figure out these corners, and he really was the fastest there in those final 20 laps. As we take a look at our unofficial results here tonight, Hunter Carlson, obviously top of the board with Christian Stahl. They're going to be in that second place position. Justin Malarkey third. And the rest of the field, as we take a look through it, I mean, still a small field, 15 drivers showed up. But again, the drivers in the back really struggled. But Trevor, certainly some surprising us with the way we saw them perform from the start of the race to the end.
Yeah, I mean, there were some surprises out there, and overall, just a great race tonight, Sam. But, I mean, you look down there kind of toward the end of the field, the end of the top 10, you had Roland Collette, Rusty Modesty. I mean, those were guys that were up at the front at one point, and just the pit strategy didn't work out for those guys as they had to pit late, end up a lap down. A couple of other guys, I mean, Stephen Potter, Sam, with a great recovery run. The 64 machine had some issues tonight, comes home 8th, along with Jesse Nolan. So, I mean, it was just kind of a mixed bag of survival, play the pit strategy right, and you got yourself a good finish. For Hunter Carlson, I mean, he did all the above, Sam, and comes away with the inaugural win.
We just got an update on Hunter Carlson. His PC blue screened on him in the middle of that interview. So luckily the race ended because Hunter's computer was about to give out on him there late. Shocking update from Hunter. But again, he takes the win. Enjoy it, Hunter. Hopefully we'll be talking to you in these next couple of weeks. But certainly going to be a fun one. Again, Michigan, Daytona, Darlington. The next three races on the schedule that we find ourselves getting prepared for. But for us up in the booth, it's been an awesome coverage, a new series, but we have plenty more coverage throughout the week here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. This week was the start of all 4 series starting back up. We had the ISRC Truck Series having their second race of the season this past yesterday on Monday at Homestead. We just had the start of the Challenger Racing League. First season, first races in the books. Hunter Carlson takes that win. Tomorrow night, you do not want to miss it. WSSR Cup Series action. It's the last race of the regular season. Who will be inside the top 16 in points to race for a championship? You don't want to miss it because they're heading to Bristol, the last great Coliseum. It's going to give us a great show. Again, you do not want to miss. Then Thursday, it's preseason time for the Doghouse Racing Series. Usually open setup. This upcoming Thursday will be fixed setup. They're going to be having their fundraiser night racing at Atlanta Super Speedway. It's the Atlanta 300. Don't want to miss it. All great racing action throughout the week. But man, Trevor, certainly it's good to have you back in the booth. I know we've said that multiple times here tonight, but man, I really mean it. We've missed you. And we're happy to have you back on Tuesday nights, giving us coverage with the Challenger Racing League.
Good to be back. Can't wait to knock a little bit more of the rust off. We got through the first one. Now we just got to knock some more of the rust off and get ready for Michigan, Sam, and more great action that these guys are going to put on for us for the rest of the season.
More great action for sure with real-life NASCAR giving us some great drama. I think we got a little bit of a taste here tonight for this Challenger Racing League. But for this evening, thank you for joining with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we appreciate those that came in, watched on Facebook. We are dual streaming on Facebook and YouTube on Tuesday nights. And also, we appreciate those that like, subscribe, and participate in the chats each and every race. Cannot wait for it. Next week, going to be Michigan here on Tuesday nights. But if you can't wait until then, we have ourselves 3 more races in between. Our first one, tomorrow night. It's going to be a crucial one. Bristol, the last race of the regular season. Who's in? Who's out? You're going to have to watch it all here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we get to see who's moving on to the playoffs. Cannot wait for it. That'll be our next Freaky Fast Broadcast.